Hey everyone, I'm back with another video, and today, look, I've surrounded myself with a lot of stuff, like Ninjago, Mortal Kombat, Undertale, Wii, Nintendo Wii, and the Mi CPUs, and now we're back to Fnaf. For what? As you might see, your Fnaf hot takes 2 extra salty by not real name, not at all. Now, I have seen the original, and this one was a bit more confusing and complex than the last one. So here's the ones that I wanted to talk about.
Scoutburst writes, hot take. This series is borderline inaccessible for newcomers if you got into it past Fnaf 6. I say this as someone who was in it from the beginning until Sister Location and read The Silver Eyes, and then took a break until Security Breach. Sure, you can read the books, that adds up quickly, get them through libraries, and you can watch some videos in an attempt to catch up, but a lot of info this fandom accepts or as fact or as evidence for popular theories comes from things like Scott's website updates that are practically lost time unless you want to dig through video archives of 2015. It's not even fun to catch up at this point. A new book comes out and all I can think is, gods, I hope this isn't actually canon. I don't want any more lore implications. I like this series a lot, but I'm starting to get burned out on everything happening. I don't know if others feel the same, but I would give anything for the series to be simple again. You're not alone, I can tell you that. I love Fnaf, and I've been here since the beginning, and sometimes it feels like I'm taking a college elective trying to keep up with everything, especially since we almost get no confirmation for what is and what isn't actually important to the greater story. And even if it is, we almost never see it in action, you know? It's a little overwhelming. And that doesn't mean I don't like Fnaf. I do. But I hate when a book comes out and I find myself getting lectured about how it changes everything, the whole franchise. It's all different now. Yeah, well, that's the stuff that got me into the franchise. I don't want to be retaught about how wrong I was because I followed the info we had at the time. Whoa, sorry, I didn't think the salt was coming that fast. Long story short, I agree. I think simple is better, and I think supplementary material should be a bonus, not a requirement.
I totally agree with everything. Besides, ever since FNAF, have wanted, Security Breach, and the DLC ruined, things have gotten more and more complicated ever since. Especially with MatPat's theories, people's timelines, different point of views, everything. Especially talking about the Mimic. I have made videos circulating on the whole things, trying to clarify about the things about the Mimic and Glamrock Freddy in the Ruined DLC. It has taken 4 to 5 videos making the clarifications to those same topics people were still up about. And it has been driving me crazy. And it also has been burning out people. And I thought I was the only one alone, but apparently some other people agree and understand, which I'm grateful for. And yes, I do think simple is better. And besides, I've been trying to make a simple, more makes sense, what you will, timeline. Besides, I don't know what's with people's theories and saying these random nonsense, considering especially the books. The books are just an AU/alternate universe, or a parallel universe, to the games. It's completely different, which says a lot. And some of the books, the details of some of the books are indeed canon to the games, like the Mimic, Didophobia, or maybe even the Silver Eyes involving William Afton being a narcissistic, neglectful, and abusive father. Well, mostly due to the fact that mostly after his son Evan died. I already made a video about that. But seriously, I have made a timeline that would actually make sense to the Fnaf story, the first game to what it is now. So, yeah, just totally.
Now, my biggest problem with folks saying that FNAF 6 is the perfect ending is that it's FNAF 3's ending, but it was updated with kill a man in a fire and bring him back to death. Like, why not a fire and holy water? Or a
Why not just kill him like other people die in a slasher or any kind of horror movie, like decapitation or dismemberment, or even just a simple accidental natural cause of death, like a car accident, falling off a building, whatever. Just do that instead of just trying to set people on fire. We already had that happen to Freddy Krueger, Chucky / Charles Lee Ray, and Michael Myers. And guess what? None of them worked. So, I don't know why people can't just, kill the villain by just decapitating or dismembering or just any other thing, really. And the whole mimic thing, please. Burntrap and the mimic are completely different characters. The mimic is just the mimic. It's confirmed to be just the mimic. Even though the mimic also controlled William Afton's resurrected body of Burntrap. Burntrap was indeed William Afton. Well, William Afton being resurrected in his body, but being controlled by mimic / the glitch trap virus. Like I said, I already made a timeline about the entire FNAF universe to be more simple, to actually make sense, and the entire details of it all.
vampire steak or rip his soul out. Something. You brought him back. Don't do the same thing. In defense of the whole security breach Burntrap ruins FNAF 6 take, at the time, we only had security breach, and that seemed to be what it was implying. I mean,
Yes.
Look at this thing. Does it look like an original character? Especially when Afton changed so drastically between 3 and 6. And yet,
The Scrap Trap character makes sense due to the fact that Trash and, Springtrap had to rebuild himself by using trash and other stuff. So it makes sense. Burntrap is just the remains of, William Afton's Springtrap suit and, some other, the Glamrock and endoskeleton parts and the, virus, draining at the power from the other animatronics to heal or bring back William Afton, so yeah.
I totally see and agree with the double standard. Mimic isn't as huge of a deviation as is wanted to be believed. Walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. Even if it tells me it's a goat, that doesn't mean I'm going to be able to milk it. And yeah, a lot of people who really love the Mimic haven't read the books. Or at least don't understand what was stated in the books. Because they say things that really weren't in the stories, but were probably in a popular theory. God, there was an epilogue that proved Mimic was Burntrap because he crushed a woman's body climbing into a suit, except it was a dog animatronic, and Mimic just climbed back out later. So yeah, it wasn't a Burntrap reveal, but everyone was saying it was. I gotta stop. I'm burning time whining. So yeah, I agree with most of this.
Yes.
Coco writes,
Thank you. I agree with that too. It's so ridiculous. Like I said, I had to make 4 to 5 videos explaining about the whole Mimic and Burntrap thing. God, it was the worst thing ever.
Number 3. I think that the books and games are two different parallel universes. That's what Scott said in the beginning, and technically yeah, or at least the next books should have been their own thing and not trying to continue off of the Silver Eyes.
I would
And
agree
number
with
5,
that.
Remnant is overpowered.
Yes.
Remnant has basically erased, can be used to resurrect the dead, heal
But when Remnant is in the fire, it can just fade away. So, William Afton dying in a fire, it was a possible thing for him to die from. So, fire is okay. It's okay. Not a bad thing.
Super Lag Bro writes, the Mimic is dumb and I don't like it.
Oh yeah, and I also remember about the Fnaf 6 thing about what if Michael Afton wasn't the main protagonist in Fnaf 6, meaning that he wouldn't die in the fire with his father and the other characters, which is possible. And you know what? Considering that I saw a DeviantArt artwork by someone about Mary Schmidt and Michael Afton being a married couple. There was something about Michael Afton surviving the fire of FNAF 6 and actually still being alive. You know, still surviving. And you know what? If Michael wasn't the main protagonist in FNAF 6, then Michael still would have been happy with his family. The family that he has with Mary. So, yeah.
It feels very wishy-washy to me. As in that it can do anything the writers want it to do because it can.
Oh, wait.
Does the Mimic have a... Jesterman writes, I've got the outcome. Additionally, I sort of dislike the direction that was taken for affected her popularity. So they didn't really need to smooth her out. And yes, that gameplay do be a loss over the fact that William, who dismantled the FNAF 1 animatronics, is on the same level, if not worse, than Gregory, breaking down the security. And yes, people...
Not real name, not at all. Explains the whole Gregory dismantling the animatronics to Chris Thorndike. The Chris Thorndike hate thing from Sonic X. Even though the other characters are also kind of dumb. Sonic X is basically hated.
There's no limit to your savings right now at Haverty's, because you can save $100 off every 1,000 you spend. As your
What the fuck? Oh.
Basil the Sunflower writes, my hot take. The first one is that I wish the crying child had more of a role in the games. He was there for like one game and that's it. I also wish that he was the sole possessor of Golden Freddy. It just makes more sense to have him possess him, since he's the one who had the most theme. Second take. I personally find Cassidy to be kind of a boring character, since that Cassidy has a boring character implies that Cassidy has a character. That was a joke. I agree. Cassidy is pretty much just a name that pops up whenever FNAF wants to dangle a hook for...
Yeah, agreed, but she was one of the missing children, so... So, I mean... She was one of the missing children, especially with Susie, Fritz, Jeremy, and Gabriel. Okay? She was one of the missing children. Even though she was just a name, she also does have an official appearance. Albeit briefly.
Their audience. But on the whole, Andrew or Kelsey would have been a better choice for the one you should...
I'm thinking Andrew. Andrew actually has an appearance in the games. Well, being the alligator mask kid, even though it's barely even confirmed, but it's possible. It would be possible.
Grace the Fox writes, my hot take. I love Vanny so much. Her design is amazing and I wish she got explored and ruined instead of the Mimic. It makes me upset they just threw her aside. Also...
This last paragraph is exactly like the original hot take thing, where Vanny should have been her own character instead of being a henchwoman for William Afton. Vanny being a fangirl of William Afton and his murders and trying to recreate them instead of the whole sci-fi brainwashing glitch trap thing. So I would agree. I would totally agree.
Jennifer Greel writes, honestly, at this point, I'm more interested in the characters as Fazbear Entertainment presents them in the restaurant than any of